Hi everyone. Today is a very lovely day. I actually wanted to respond to this video that's being made by this guy, Dr. Umar Johnson or something like that. Um, I've actually heard some stuff about him, but I haven't had an opportunity to schedule some time to look up his work because I don't even know about the work he does, like what his focus is. But I was actually I came across this video that he made, and it was promoting this message that black feminists are teaching black women to basically hate black men and create all this contention in the black community and dehumanize the black community and black males. And specifically to this guy, Johnson, um, you know, you actually have to pick up a fucking black feminist book and read it. I actually watched your video, and one of the questions for me was, where exactly did this guy get his information from? And also involved in, doing reconstructive surgery in academic discourse. The stuff that you're doing is actually very hurtful to, for example, the sacrifices and the effort that, in particular, black women have done to, uplift the collective esteem of the black community. And to this Umar person, you know, I don't even know what to say other than to just ask you respectfully to pick up a black feminist book and read it. There's a wonderful book actually called Sisters of the Yam, and it's written by um, a wonderful, very critical perspective. Her name is Bell Hooks. And seeing that you have some kind of background in university studies as well, you actually have to begin to cite your sources. And watching this video that was titled something like Black Feminism versus Womanist, when you do shit like that, this is what happens. Stuff like that actually creates contention in the black community because that's actually mistruths. What that also does is that teaches members from our community to hate themselves and to hate us, who are actually working very hard to actually bring our own into the academic culture and make ethical corrections, such as from what you are doing as well. Now, I've only watched one video of yours, and quite frankly, I was actually really disappointed. I wasn't offended because I think that's what you kind of get off on. And, I just saw how so many people were very provoked in not a nice way with respect to the work that you do. You really sound ignorant, and you sound fucking hateful towards the accomplishments of black women. And speaking from a perspective of a diaspora from Canada, Jamaica, all of West Africa, and Nubia, to hear what was coming out of your mouth and not even have any citation to where you got your information from is not the way academic culture works, the ethical kind. Just to give you some information about academia, there's a lot of problems, and one of the problems is that people tend to construct these notions about groups, women, situations that are not true. So please do pick up a black feminist text. And what black feminism does, it actually will teach you to love yourself and to teach you something about ethics. And you mentioned this remark to say that black feminism creates this contention and chaos, and that womanism, is a different style of um, focus. And if you actually read Black Feminism, then you will understand that one grew out of the other. So they both have the same root. So to this Umar guy, I don't even know who you are, but your video is very fucking ignorant. And, please understand that you're actually not the only black academic in the world, but stuff that what you're producing and, you know, exploiting is very, very problematic. I don't know if you've actually walked into a fucking, processing center where they have a lot of black mothers who have lost their babies to murder, to violence, even to something called racial profiling related to medicalization. And, the stuff that you're actually promoting is part of that kind of culture. So one way to actually decolonize your stuff is to actually read Black Feminism, because it will actually give you the techniques to pause and reflect on what you're doing. That video, just cite your sources, and I can give you some names: bell hooks, Patricia Hill Collins. Her stuff is helpful, but I find that she just needs to make it more accessible to the community that will benefit from that. There's also something called womanist praxis. There's also really beautiful anthologies about womanist informed writings, and a black feminist lineage that you actually want to explore is that was done in the USA. And the reason for that is because black women in the USA actually confronted the racism and the discrimination that was being written into academic work from the universities in, for example, the USA. And when we look at, for example, the work of black feminists, first of all, feminism has to do with studies about women. How do we understand what different women are experiencing? But where you have to start understanding something about black feminism is that black feminism actually started to talk about racism in something called the women's movement. Now, the women's movement doesn't have to do with just one focus, and a lot of, unfortunately, stuff in the mainstream media says that, this women's movement is about bashing men and are all about lesbians and, all about sort of, exterminating this male species. And quite frankly, that's not what fucking black feminists actually write about. What black feminists did was they actually confronted racism, and they also said to the women's movement, wait a minute here, you actually have to think about our men, because we were also discriminated against and with our men in something called chattel slavery. So, buddy, I don't know who the fuck you are, and I don't fucking care what titles you have, and, we all have titles, right? And, but if we come from a similar academic circle, one of the first things you're supposed to fucking do is cite your sources. And you know what? You didn't even cite any of your sources in your video. So, think about what you're doing before you're doing that shit. Because you know what? That fucking kills our kids. That fucking kills our families. And that fucking kills our relationships with our black males. And you know what? You're doing the opposite of what we do. So you know what? To you, Mr. Umar, or whatever the fuck your name is, you know what? Just do some corrective action, ethical stuff. You're welcome to get back to me, but you know what? Make it ethical and make it academic. And what that means is that if you have something to say, you know what? Speak from a text. Go and look at some black feminist stuff. Are you going to say that Harriet Tubman did nothing? Are you going to say that, who else? Alice Walker is what? Someone who's teaching us to hate ourselves? If you actually look at the education system, for example, in Canada, it actually teaches black males and black females to hate themselves. And you know what it does? It's doing the exact same thing that you're doing. Talking about all this shit, don't even cite your sources, and don't even think about the implications of misinformation. Mr. Umar, stop what you're doing. That shit is not good at all. And you know what? I mean, as an academic as well, I find it incredibly, incredibly sad to even see someone like yourself just so expressive and so comfortable with what you're doing. You know, as a matter of fact, you come across as what they call a black hybrid. You know, one of those from the lineage, from the house, and also one of those from the lineage that said, you know what? Yeah, let's exploit the fucking black community. You need to make corrective ethical um, action. And excuse me, one way to do that, cite your sources. If there's one thing that people should learn in their university education is to cite your source. You cited 0 sources in that video. So what the fuck is that stuff? That fucking teaches us to hurt ourselves. Umar Johnson, stop doing that, please. That's very hurtful. You're welcome to send me a message, but you know what? You make it academic and think about your purpose. Our purpose is to actually not repeat colonization violence and to make things better for the next 25 generations. How is what you're doing in that particular video helping us? Please stop it, Mr. Johnson, because that stuff is fucking offensive. Number 1, cite your sources. One source, read Sisters of the Yam, chapter 12. Bell hooks is a start. And you're welcome to send me a message. But let's keep this very, very professional. And let's keep this in the spirit of empowering the collective self-esteem of the community. You don't know what you're talking about. I think you have an interest to actually raise your own self-esteem. And, you know, get into this stupid reverse psychology stuff. But you know what? Have some fucking respect to black women working very, very hard. And you know what? Black women like us, we've been beaten down. We've been spit in our faces. We have had so many things done to us. And you know what? It's so disgusting to even hear how men like you, and see how you guys get off and stuff like this. Have some fucking respect, okay? What you're doing is wrong. And you know what? I was just like, I don't even know who this guy is. And I'm like, you know what? Where the fuck did this guy get his information from? Listen to this video again. Take some notes. And you know what? It's not to bash you, but have some fucking respect. And you know what? This perspective is from a heterosexual black female. I love my own. I love my community. But stop that shit, please. Thank you.